Hello YouTube, shintigercurl here, that dude in the straw hat, bringing you yet another wrestling review. I'm of course joined by my fellow internet superstar and friend Joe. Say hi, Joe. He's getting a lot of ass play. Well, it's Thursday night. You know what that means. Time for some Impact. And I should make the official announcement now. For those of you who are fans of the WrestleCast, hosted by my friends Matty J and Lonnie, found on Reviewtopia, you know that they are on a TNA boycott for the past couple of months. And now, I'm going to join them. That's right, your friend shintigercurl will be joining the TNA boycott on Bound for Glory weekend. So, after Bound for Glory weekend, don't expect me to do these. Don't expect to find any TNA reviews from me for a long time until TNA gets better. At the very least, they fire Bischoff and Hogan and Russo if we can get him. But anyway, let's get to this review. It's Thursday night. Time for Impact. Didn't catch it last week. Will it be any good this week? Got my notes. Let's get started. Kurt Angle comes out and decides to call out Crimson, who comes out looking like he still needs some BC headache powder. He says that it took balls for him to call him out last week, and he commends him on that, but he's still going to take out all the new, the up-and-coming young stars because Dixie Carter lied to him about knowing about an affair that happened 3 years ago. So much more than Hulk Hogan, who, well, stole a company and threatened to beat up a woman. Crimson tries to be intimidating, but seriously, him and Johnny Ace need some chloroseptic or something. Their voices sound wrecked. Anyway, they decide to settle their differences tonight in the main event. So it'll be Crimson versus Kurt Angle. Immortal comes out with the Mexican champion, the King of Mexico, Jeff Jarrett, still racist as ever. And they come out, and Bully Ray puts out a promo saying that, do you know who this is? Do you know? Basically doing what he was doing with Mr. Anderson just a month prior. Anyway, Angle's like, no, I can handle this. Just all of you stay back. Particularly you, Jeff Jarrett, because you're a racist fuck. He didn't really say that. But yeah, he threatened that this will be a one-on-one competition, and he will prove himself that he's better than Crimson and his streak. Anyway, next up, we have a backstage segment between Eric Bischoff, Ric Flair, and Hulk Hogan. And of course, any segment with Ric Flair is awesome. Hogan has his panties in a twist since last week Flair challenged Sting to a one-on-one match and no surrender, and if Sting wins, he gets Hogan. Hogan decides that he wants to clear the air and settle and not want to wrestle Flair. Because Hogan's right, no one wants to see him in the ring. And he tells Ric Flair to just be quiet and let him do the talking. Yeah, telling Ric Flair to be quiet is like telling Ahmed Johnson to speak intelligently. You can wish for it all you want, it's never going to happen. We go to our first match, a knockouts match, as Angelina Love teams up with Sarita and Rosita, the Mexican skanks from Mexican America, takes on Velvet Sky, ODB, and Jackie. The last two, seemingly, are now faces now. Ah. Damn these sudden face-heel turns. Anyway, this was a pretty good, decent match. A lot better than the stuff with the booty shaking and that ass slapping of Kelly and Eve Torres. But, standard knockouts affair. In the end, ODB and Jackie had Angelina Love's back, and they would pick up the win. Not Angelina Love, Velvet Sky. Angelina Love gets into it with the two Mexican bitches, and it leaves at that. Did I mention that it hurts my soul to watch Mexican America wear those tag belts? Ugh. Next up, X Division match. Kit Cash versus Jesse Sorensen. This is a pretty decent match. Not the best X Division match, a little bit below what I'm used to from the X Division, but pretty decent. Kid Cash is still a beast of a wrestler, and Jesse Sorensen has some potential. The end comes when Kid Cash does a roll up and pulls the tights, picking up the win. He does a short interview where he mocks Jesse Sorensen. Sorensen decides to get in Kid Cash's face. Not a good idea, kid. Not a good idea. Next up, the Pope versus RVD Bound for Glory Series match. Now, mind you, we still have 2 weeks before before No Surrender, with the top 4 will face off against each other, and after No Surrender, we will have our winner. Spoiler alert, it's Crimson. Anyway, this was a pretty decent matchup, probably the best we've seen of Pope in a long while. The end is kind of fucked up since RVD pulls out a submission victory, earning him 10 points and rocketing him back up the ladder. But the submission was a Mexican surfboard. Think about it. When was the last time anyone tapped out to a Mexican surfboard? Anyway, then comes Samoa Joe attacking the Pope. Devon's sons try to beg their father to get back in to help the Pope. Now, mind you that Devon is no longer in the Bound for Glory series because Joe took out his legs. Anyway, after some convincing, Devon picks up a steel chair, hobbles his black ass into the ring, and scares off Joe. So Joe ran away from a one-legged man with a steel chair. You're dead to me, Joe. Next up, backstage, the two Mexican skanks confront pirate hooker skank, a.k.a. Angelina Love, backstage, and an impromptu fight begins. Winder comes in to show her crazy ass and starts beating up on the two. And it takes the male members to actually break up the fight. Your tag team champions. Worst stable in wrestling. Next up, Hogan and Flair come out and call Crazy Sting out. Hogan says, "This is a family show, brother. We can't have you being crazy. Instead of us being total dickweeds about us stealing the company through illegal means and me threatening to beat up a woman for no apparent reason. We can't have someone doing a bad Heath Ledger Joker impression around here, no, brother." He asks him Hogan says that he promises to run a clean ship from now on. No one believes you, at least of all Sting, who says he wants milk and cookies for the entire audience. Milk and cookies is good. Ice cream bars are better. So Flair decides to go ape shit, and he joins in and says that he will beat down Sting. Sting says that if he beats Flair, then he'll face Hogan at Bound for Glory. The end has come, and it will be at Bound for Glory. And people wonder why I'm going to stop watching it that weekend. Next up, AJ prepares for his Bound for Glory series matchup when he calls out Daniels. He asks Chris why he wants another match so badly. Chris Daniels says that he wants another match to see if he's really worthy of staying in TNA, or even staying in wrestling at all, and does his best Tommy Dreamer impression. Don't cry too much there, Daniels. You'll ruin your eye makeup. So AJ agrees, but not at No Surrender. He's got a Bound for Glory series match at No Surrender. So next week, the Fallen Angel, the phenomenal one more time. So we segue into our next match: AJ Styles and Beer Money versus Bully Ray, Gunner, and Scott Steiner, Bound for Glory series match, Falls Count Anywhere. This is, of course, a nice little fight match, or whatever you want to call it. It's all over the place. It was just hard to tell the action from this. Anyway, Beer Money gets taken out. AJ tries to fight off all three of them by himself, but he eats a bubble bomb, and Bully Ray takes the points. They're about to put him through a table when Anderson, driving a Humvee, decides to roll his disgusting ass out there and starts laying people out. Bully Ray and Abyss, who was watching the entire thing, stay away as Anderson beats the crap out of both Steiner and Gunner. Your top heel group in TNA, folks. Joe agrees. Next up, some more Eric Young bullshit. He fights Scott Baio in a street fight in a golf course. You got enough time and money to waste on fucking Scott Baio, but you don't got enough money to pay fucking Jimmy Wang Yang for one match? God damn it, TNA. Main event time. Crimson versus Kurt Angle, and this really shows off why I don't like Crimson very much. Sure, he's young, but his moveset is bland. There's nothing really that stands out about him. He's like someone's created a wrestler that they didn't finish all the way. They just gave generic moves to. Kurt tries to make it a good match, but it's... I don't know, I wasn't just feeling it. Anyway, the end is foobar because Joe decides to wallow his behind in here and beat up on Crimson. He locks eyes with Kurt for a little while, but Kurt's like, hey, do what you gotta do, man. So Joe beats up on Crimson until Crimson fights back and drives him off. Backstage, we get an impromptu interview with Crimson, who says he wants to settle things up with Joe next week. Joe says, why wait? Jumps him and then breaks his fucking leg. Yeah. Now, if Joe really did take out Crimson, I'm all for it, because I wish I had more time in my videos anymore, but anyone who knows me knows I am not a big fan of Crimson. So, sure, he's got a little bit of a push, but he hasn't really done anything worthy of a push. His streak is bad, his mic skills are average, and his in-ring skills are generic. Why? But yeah, that's Impact. My vote, slightly below average show. Matches weren't all that great. These promos went on too long, and there were so many face-heel turns that you get whiplash trying to follow them all. Ugh. Almost broke my damn neck watching the show. But yeah, that's TNA Impact. Tune in tomorrow night when I review Friday Night SmackDown. Mark Henry is the new #1 contender, and he wants to make Randy Orton his bitch. What's gonna happen? You just have to tune in and find out. Until then, this is shintigercurl, that dude in the straw hat, and Joe, saying goodnight and wrestle on.